Yes, let us just take another deep breath. I love that lyric about throw it all into the fire. What was that again? Of the all-loving one, all-loving God, yes. So, I'm just going to start with a little bit of that. Just throw it in the fire. Throw it in the fire. Ooh, yes. So, we are continuing to find peace in chaotic times. That is the work of the world. That is the work, period. And today we are focusing on the sacred practices in which we can lean into to experience the peaceful presence of the one, of the now moment. Because when we are truly present in the now, residing in that eye of the storm, as the title of our book of the month is, we experience the peace and the stillness. Even though everything's swirling around us, we can return to that oneness and that wholeness. Could you turn me down just a little bit, or the gain or something? I'm just hearing myself really loud here, and it's like in my ear. If that helped you have a specific of what I need to change, it's get rid of the Okay, that seems to be a little better. Thank you. Yes. Y'all can still hear me? Okay, good. Now I can speak with full voice without hurting myself. Okay. So, we gather around this truth. I return to peace with every breath. Our affirmation this morning, right? But peace is not something that we escape to. Peace is not a pretending that everything is okay. Peace is cultivated by doing the work. Peace is experienced once we lean into discomfort and choose presence over reactivity. Get the difference? Right? Because sometimes we can hear the word peace and just think that, peace, love, hippie vibes. And in fact, life, as many of us have experienced, and as we look into the world, is a constant opportunity for growth. Challenges arise, and in the middle of that, when we lean into our spiritual practices, our spiritual principles, we can still find that place of presence and center ourselves and take that breath so we will not be overcome by the storm. Yes? So I want to share this idea that it's in many different works, bodies of works and teachings, but I came to know it through the work of the 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership. And it's we delved into this as a baseline for how we as staff operated and communicated when I was at Bodhi Spiritual Center in Chicago. So there's 15 commitments. Obviously, there's a lot to the work, but I'm going to share a little bit about what you may be familiar with from other things as well, called the drama triangle. And this is the fact that we dance around between either being a victim, a villain, or a hero. And now the drama triangle is basic storytelling. We see this in our movies, right? As art often reflects life and vice versa. So we are kind of programmed to live in this cycle that there is someone that is the victim. And the victim might say or think things like this: something's happening to me and I have no power. Or then the villain, they play their role by being the one that is doing something to the victim. And the villain might say or think something like this: this is happening because you are the problem, right? The victim or the villain blames. And then the hero, the one that we are taught through our culture and movies to honor and strive to be will come in and save the day. I will fix this and I will save everyone. And often to their own expense, right? And the thing is, when we believe in a hero to save the day, that means that we are then believing that something is wrong. And that something is happening to someone that shouldn't be. Someone's a victim. So all three of these parts play their part and need each other to complete the drama triangle. But the good news is we can break free and shift into, and just one person on this triangle can shift and change the whole dynamic. So as I'm explaining this, I want you to maybe think of a situation in your life, a relationship, in the world, in a movie where you can map this onto. Because whenever conflict arises, we often unconsciously slip into one of these roles, right? So the victim, something's happening to me. The villain is the perpetrator. You should or shouldn't be doing this, blaming. And the hero, I will fix this. But are you ready for the shift? Because when we are unconscious, we play these roles. But when we are conscious, we can choose as the victim to move into creator consciousness. And the creator is the one that stands in the power instead of the victim, knowing that I am at choice. I have the power within. And there is no complaining. There is the willingness to take responsibility and to make a new choice and to choose to stand in their power. The villain can become the challenger, not blaming, but can kind of be that catalyst to point out something that really needs to shift. But the line is, are you blaming or are you challenging from a place of curiosity, of noticing, of presence, of awareness, of, hey, this isn't working, this isn't right. Let's be curious for a new way. And then the hero, when moving into a more conscious place, becomes the coach. Not trying to fix or change or heal anyone, but that leader who guides and asks the questions, who coaches along the way to see, perhaps, have you considered this? Are you willing to see it this way? So often, many of us kind of have a default role. I know for me, I often go to hero. And it kind of makes sense with my life path, right? And the dance for me is staying in that place of awareness, not to try to fix or save the world or anyone, but to be that conscious coach, to lead and to guide with curiosity. So think about in your life, right? Can you notice, do you often dance or play in one of these areas of the triangle? And sometimes, different relationships may have a different dynamic. But in general, if you find yourself in one of these, I want you to begin to think about what it would be like to move into a conscious creator. If you've always been told that you are, too much, too big, too loud, a villain, stirring up trouble, whatnot, how could you see that from a more empowered place of being the challenger with curiosity and love that helps create change? Or as the hero, to be that conscious coach? So whichever role we play, when we remain below the line, is their language, we are reactive and defensive. We're obsessed with being right, addicted to control, and there's always either a winner or a loser. But the true wholeness and the opportunity of the drama triangle escapes us if we remain playing in one of those roles. You get that? Yeah. So as we are looking at this idea of being the calm in the storm, so much is going on in the world that is uncertain. You hear this phrase, we live in uncertain times, in these uncertain times. And that it first started becoming really in our narrative around COVID, right? These are very uncertain times. And then political unrest and change. These are very uncertain times. So I was on YouTube yesterday, and my algorithm fed me this video, which caught my eye because the same graphic that we've used this month with the lighthouse and the eye of the storm, that one right there, there was a video that looked like this, but it was Teal Swan's face, if any of you know Teal Swan. And it said something like leaning into uncertainty or something about being still in the chaos. Very similar. So I was like, oh, okay, what does she have to say about this? So I clicked on it, and I want to share a few things that really resonated with me. She invites us to ask this question when we're experiencing uncertainty. What would I do if a sense of certainty would never come back? If going forward, things were just as uncertain as today? So at first glance, you're like, what? I don't know. I don't want to question that. I don't want to ask myself that. I want to think about what's possible and what's good and affirm. And if you go deep enough with this question, think about it. What would I do if a sense of certainty would never come back? And then she shared some responses to some people that had been doing the work with her. And what this question has the opportunity to do, if you give yourself this practice to contemplate it, is to shift back into your power instead of the uncertainty about their having the power. It's right here. People's responses were things like, I would spend more time with my dog. I would, instead of planning a big trip because I want to experience more adventure for next year and all the things I could do, I would hop in my car and drive an hour and go on a hike right now, today, right? Basically, it brought people back to the present moment. And it allowed folks to reveal what is truly important. What would I do if a sense of certainty would never come back, and if going forward things would be just as uncertain? It's kind of like that idea of living your life as if it is your last day. It brings you back to right now. What is important? What do I value? How am I going to show up and spend my precious moments? It frees us to be in the valuing the process or the journey instead of the outcome or the destination. In times of uncertainty, it calls us to derive meaning from our values, no matter what the results may be. So what would it look like to live from your value of curiosity or love or creativity, whatever one of your highest values may be, without thinking of, I'm going to create this thing that then I'm going to sell somewhere, and down the line it's going to be A, B, or C. That's giving it a whole other, what's the word I'm trying to, non-detachment, but anyway, instead of intention, there's another word that's more, it starts with an E. It's like I'm seeing it and it's not coming. Anyway, so instead of attaching to the outcome Oh, that's going to drive me nuts, y'all. Okay, I got to let it go. Okay, then we can create just for the process and the joy of creating because it feels good to create, right? So, leaning into uncertainty. Live in the present moment. Be willing to break out of this drama triangle. Lean into uncertainty. And here are some practices that will assist on this journey. First one being stillness. Meeting the storm within. Again, I want to reference that poem, that beautiful words of the snowflake on the tongue as the medicine. Yeah, that image. It's like taking in whatever is occurring in life as the medicine. If it's showing up, it's for me. We may say, why me? Or we could say, this is for me, and get curious. Allow it to be our healing and our medicine. Teal Swan says, being present to life means letting your center or your spiritual nature move you instead of your fears or insecurities. So when we are living below the line or in our ego mind that wants to be right, that wants certainty, that wants to know everything before we step out into what we are doing, that place keeps us small, in fear, and trying to control. And anyone who's been in that place knows it's not very fun, it's really hard to maintain, and eventually you will be exhausted, worn down. So stillness, our first practice today, stillness. And it's more than just silence. It's being present with what is. It's taking that moment to pause, to breathe, to notice, to feel the tension in the body or the emotion, rather than just trying to avoid the grief or the anger or the fear. Because when we allow these emotions, we can integrate them in a place of presence instead of just trying to distract ourselves or be reactive. So think about your life. Is there a place where something is occurring where you want to just hide away or you find yourself reacting? That is the snowflake that perhaps you want to ingest and sit with a little bit. And just name it. I'm feeling scared. I'm feeling afraid. I don't know what to do. Lean into the uncertainty. Find a moment of stillness and presence. Name the grief, the anger, the fear, and breathe. And as I talked about, I believe last week, when we move into that place, what begins to happen is more possibilities start to show up. We begin to have eyes to see things beyond the this or that, beyond the drama triangle, and something new emerges, the third way. Something new emerges, the both and, the win-win solution instead of the win-lose solution. The work of stillness is facing the inner storm. How often may we not even know that we're doing it? Do we get distracted by the news or the stories in the world instead of facing our own inner storm? Do we blame, shame what's going on out there because it's easier than actually looking at our own inner work? Facing our inner storm, we can bring that energy of peace and presence and calm that always resides at our center, and allow then the eye of the storm to be our guide, that inner nature, that presence within, that something within that knows. But when we're caught up in it, the first thing we do, pause. Be still, be present. Second thing, breath. The breath is our anchor. It suspends the reactivity of the mind. Like literally there's, something physiologically that occurs when we breathe. That's why we teach kids, pause, count to 10 before you, why didn't you, right? Because we're always making up stories. It's so easy to go into the drama of the victim and the villain, or we can choose to pause, to breathe, to be the conscious creator, to take responsibility, to look within, and let our breath be our anchor. When blame, shame, or control begins to take over your body or your mind, notice it, name it, and breathe. And then with each conscious inhale and exhale, remind yourself, I am here. I am whole. I am safe. Whatever words work for you, come to you in that moment that you need to remind yourself of that I am presence, always available within. And each breath begins to soften the grip of clinging to the past or worry of the future. And it allows us to be more grounded in this present moment. So these kind of flow together, these three practices. The next one being intentional focus. Choosing what really matters. Our attention, as we know, shapes our experience of reality. So, are you going to fixate on what's wrong or what's right? Or will you ask, as that conscious creator, what's mine to know here? What is mine to own, to take responsibility for? And what matters most? When you notice yourself circling the drama triangle, these practices can allow you to do that shift, to take that leap from the victim to the creator. By pausing, getting still, becoming present, breathing, and then intentionally focusing. The intentional focus moves from the reactivity to the ability to respond by taking responsibility. And it makes every moment an opportunity to get to choose, to live from and demonstrate your values, even if the outcome is uncertain. I was thinking some about this idea of, it was all for nothing. I'll just tell a quick anecdote. So I recently, had the house on the market to sell, and there's a lot of work that goes into that, and staging it, and cleaning it, and doing this. After a series of months and various things, I've now taken the house off the market and have moved back in. And there was a moment of looking at the past and thinking, I could really get down, all that work I did, all for nothing. And I was like, no. Every moment was an opportunity. Everything I did in that moment, even if it seems like it's all for nothing, if I focus on the journey, it has value if I choose to give it that meaning. The cleaning, the move. I moved so much, y'all, I probably worked out more than if I had gone to the gym for 2 hours a day, right? So it's like, what's the meaning we're going to make of it? Are we going to go back to the past and live in regret? Or are we going to choose to see the value in everything and be willing to pivot or shift or change in each moment based on what we know now without being too attached to things because of what we did in the past? Even when things are uncertain, we take the next right step and allow our heart to lead the way. So I want you all to know that this community is a microcosm of the macrocosm. And I'm sure your life is a microcosm of this community, of that community, right? Like we see these things. So a lot is kind of energetically going on in the world right now. Things seem to be just, and what I'm committed to is growth and healing. And I know when stuff comes up, it's an opportunity to heal. Now, the mess of it is not fun, and I often want to I have that one in me that will come up and say, F this, I'm out of here. Anyone else? And what I notice is if I pause and breathe and lean into my feelings, lean into the discomfort and look, and for me it helps to have some hope, some possibility of, well, this could happen, or this could happen, or this could happen. I'm not attached to it. I don't really know. It's all very uncertain, but this could be a possible outcome for growth and change, and it can lead to us doing greater work in loving each other more. So doing the work, cultivating peace isn't about avoiding the storms. It's about learning to dance in the rain. I love to dance in the rain. Sometimes when it rains hard, y'all, I just put on my bathing suit and I go outside. Cadence and I did that the other day. We were trying to go to the pool and then it stormed and then the thunder stopped, but it was just raining. I'm like, well, it's safe. Let's just go play in the rain. So this week, I invite you to experience the stillness in order to meet the storm within, to breathe and return to your center, and to focus your intention by choosing presence over drama. And if you notice you slip into victim, villain, or hero, just lean in, come back to presence, breathe, and affirm, I return to peace with every breath. Yes? Let's take it into prayer. Knowing right here, right now, there is one life, one presence. That is love and only love. And love is the healer. Love is that guiding force within us that has us feel that divine urge towards greater possibility. This presence within us that has us open our hearts to hold the space of grief and pain in order to know that it is not permanent and possibility resides. So I recognize this life, this love, this creativity, this freedom as the one energy and essence back of all things that is having its way in and as and through my life and each and every one of us. It is living through all of us now. So I claim and know from this place of oneness a deep awareness of my power, sourced by the infinite, inexhaustible. I claim and know the potentiality of life itself resides right here within me. And I know in times of uncertainty that I can be still and I will be guided. Asking always, what is mine to do? Who am I becoming? Leaning into that which I value most and asking, what would love do now? What would creativity do now? How would freedom show up in my life now? Getting curious, opening the mind, where the world says this or that, yes or no, good or bad, right or wrong. I choose to lean into the infinite presence of the all-loving one and allow something new to arise. Knowing that we are in this together. We are committed to growth And through that, love is made real in our hearts and in our experiences. So I'm so grateful to walk this path with each of you, and so grateful to know, even when I don't know, that something great is happening here and now. So with great gratitude for the fulfillment of this prayer, I release it into the action of the law that always says, yes, my beloved, yes, it is done. And it is so. And together we say, and so it is. Yes, 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 yes.